Hi guys, what's going on? Right then, today in our tutorial we are going to be doing a soft crop, but not only that, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to section, how to use line theory, and I'm also going to be showing you how to hide a receding hairline with a soft crop. Now you will see the transformation in this video on how thin he's going, how much hair he's losing, and how to cover it completely up. Also, on the right hand side, I'm going to show you how to skip guard and refine. He has got darker hair. Like I said in the last video, I will be showing you a darker haircut and a skip guarding and refining loads. So that's on the right hand side, and then I'm going to show you how a basic fade and how I basically fade a new client unless they got lighter hair. To stop you from hitting any lumps and bumps in the hair, so it's better off to, when you have a new client, to use the use the fading technique that I got on the left hand side. So I hope you enjoy, hope you love it, hope you share it, hope you give me some feedback, good or bad. Any feedback is good because I can improve on areas I need to improve. So thank you very much for watching guys, I hope you enjoy. Peace! Today's tutorial, what we're going to be learning is a soft crop, but as you can see, Niall is starting to thin at the front and he's got a bit of a receding hairline. So I'm going to teach you through sectioning and line theory. I'm going to teach you how to hide all of this, but keeping a full fringe and you'll never even be able to tell. So this is a magic haircut. I'm going to start by doing the foundation, which is growth pattern to recession. So crown area to recession. So that section nice and clean. I do cut Niall's hair on a regular, so I do know how to section his hair and how to get it pretty much perfect first time. But normally we would section with feel and then section with sight. So using line theory, any hair that is popping out as you comb it across, any hair that's pushing this way, that's line theory, so you want to be using it so that hair wants to come this side. Not that way. You don't want to work against the hair. So then starting at the back, we're going to pull down to keep the weight on the crown. We're going to pull down to just above the main bone on the back of his head. And this is going to be keeping the weight of the crown. And as you can see, from a previous haircut, you've got a short bit, long bit in the middle. I'm just going to follow that line right the way around. So, as I like to keep a bit more of the weight in the back of the crown, back two sides of the crown, I will pull it slightly, so there my fingers are tight to the head here. And this bit, I will angle it around, so that my fingers here, when they connect in the back, are slightly off. And then as you can see, you got my guide. Coming straight through. Right the way around. Fingers tight to the head. This is going to help you with your 2.5. I use a 2.5, but I will be, you can also use a 3 to go straight up and through and the blend's done. So obviously following this through, and you got your slight scissor mark as your guide, as you can see. Going back through, obviously we are only human, so we do make little bits of little mistakes. And then repeat the process on the other side. So there, as you can see, you've got the guideline, which I've cut already, and you've got the natural growth there. So that's from the old cut, this is a new cut, and you've got the long bit in the middle, just take it clean off. Connect them through. I'm using my Mataki Icons 5.5s. Go and check them out guys, they're amazing scissors, they're an amazing brand. I wouldn't be a part of them if I wasn't. Exactly the same process as the other side, coming right around, fingers tight to the head, but as I'm leaving the weight in the back here, my fingers here come off the head slightly. exactly the same, coming through. And back in yourself, double check. And there we have it, that's the foundation done. So right now this is where I'm going to be a little bit different. Last time you've seen me do my centre profile, I'm going to scrap that today because obviously he's receding and you want to maintain the weight on the fringe and especially on the side bits here. So we're going to go straight down through the middle to create our elevation line, and as soon as we do this, as soon as we create that elevation line straight through the middle, we're going to completely disc, so we're going to come slightly more forward rather than up to the side, and we're going to completely isolate the fringe, making sure that the hair is still thick behind. If it's slightly thin, like you can see straight through that there, you're going to slightly bring that section a bit more, so that's like 45 degrees, slightly a little bit more, so about 40 degrees on the middle of the head. Obviously we will go through and refine the fringe afterwards, just like that, and then comb this down. That is your recession line, that's just your elevation line, and this is where the elevation happens. So the elevation is whether you determine it being square or being round haircut. Obviously a masculine shape is square, should be perfect at the back. As you can see, you've got the guideline straight underneath, bringing it straight to that. This elevation line all differs to each one of you. Like if you like a more of a weight, then you put it just below the foundation. If you prefer more of a rounded haircut, you put it up and above the foundation. And then because obviously the length is from line theory, the length from the scalp, the point of origin to the end of the haircut, hair, is going to be shorter as you elevate. So as the more you pull down, the more tension's on the hair, and then so forth, it's going to be longer. Comb that forward, the blend's done. Obviously that little sector here, you're going to find at the end, and then we're only clip to go straight up and through, there'll be no blend to do. So we're going to come back to this part at the end. Same on the other side, matching that line there. The guideline's already there, pretty much you just follow the same shape, same angle even. Following that through. Again, as you can see, it's a bit thinner there. If you just extend the angle and pull it through. So that is where the weight of the fringe is coming from. Elevation line again, as you can see, my foundation is underneath, connect this through. Making sure not to bring any of that fringe through. Now the blend's done already. So now, moving on to the front. So I'm going to start cutting the fringe before I start cutting the top. So and the reason why is so that I maintain the weight coming through from your elevation lines you've just cut, to make sure that it's all coming through nice and heavy through here, so when it's styled, it's puffed up and it's pulled to the side, that it will be sitting nice and full. And take a section from just behind the ear, take it forward, take it straight through, making sure the section is nice and clean. So you've isolated this here. And so we're going to come straight in with the scissors. You're going to determine your length here, not the weight of the fringe, you're going to determine the length. So I'm going to take it more or less straight. So I'm going to take less hair here, more through the middle. Snipping away, nice and gentle. Again, the same as I fade the back, if you watch my last video, it's angling slightly down. As I get to the back of the fade, it angles down. As I get to the fringe here, it angles down that way. And this is to make sure I don't go too high either side. As long as you've got a rough guide to go through, you can refine it at the end. So you can already see the shape taking place, taking the length off. I have a mirror behind the camera, and that is my most important tool. This makes sure the shape is in check, makes sure the length I can see, because the mirror doesn't lie. Your eyes, when you look in here, you can't see everything, where the mirror can. And what you do now, you take another inch or so section, half inch maybe, pull it through again. And you've got your guide line underneath your fringe, underneath the uncut hair, just take it off, just match it through. Same again. You repeat this until there's no more hair to be removed. Same again. Combing it straight down rather than on the angle. And as you can see, only a few strands left now. Now you comb it straight forward again. And repeat exactly the other side. Behind the ear, so get your marker, and straight forward, straight through the fringe. Isolating the fringe off, away. As you can see, the angle is there, but I can see that that is where it needs to be. So that corner bit just needs to come off, and I can see my connection line. So what you've done there, you've created a connection line through there, and you know that that is going to be more or less perfect when you match it up. There's hardly any refining at the end. Time efficient. Same again, inch or so, straight through again, isolating the fringe. And you can see the hairs that need to come off, because you've got your marker underneath, you've got your safety blanket underneath. Same again. This may look like a long process, but only a long process because I'm educating it, but I've got to go in depth. While I'm doing this on the shop floor, I've mastered it. It's just second nature. So you know exactly where the lines go, you know exactly where the hair is coming from, where to remove the hair from, and where the sections will go. As you can see now, there's still a little bit of a corner. Now this is where the mirror is important. Obviously these hairs will come off anyway, because obviously they're not meant to be there. But you can still see the little corner here. So as it's all coming forward and you're using your mirror, you can see exactly where it needs to come off, and you just eliminate it straight away. And there we go guys, that is it, it's done. I'm going to take a little bit more, the fringe is done. I'm going to now isolate my centre profile. Pulling it up from the front. Using my fringe that I've already cut as a guideline. So as you can see, the angle of my fingers are coming straight up off the head. Now this is going to make sure that I'm taking enough length off but maintaining the weight. I just cut straight down. And I'm pulling it up here, behind, still bearing in mind my line theory, the weight I need to keep behind the fringe. So if I was to go square now, straight square, like I normally would with the soft crop, that means I'm removing all of the weight from the fringe, which you don't want. So we're going to keep it going, not quite so steep as this one. We're going to put it back to where you've cut, so you've got your guideline, which is here. It's going to still graduate up rather than level. And then you have it again. I'm going to point cut behind it. So moving the length and leaving a bit of texture for a softer edge. Connect this in through the crown. Come it all forward. As you can see, it's taking a lot more weight out of the fringe behind. So I created a wider centre profile, and if you just to go back and through and check, be careful what you remove though, because it might be a part of the fringe that you need to keep. So obviously there you can see, edge it in, edge it in. As you get further back into the crown, you can completely connect it. So because of the profile line, centre profile, you have created a safety blanket on either side. So you've got another guideline to go off. And if there's any problems moving forward, you know exactly where it is, because you're like, oh okay, that's part of the centre profile line. Okay, that's part of the left side or the right side. So you know exactly where to go, so you're eliminating extra fuss and time moving forward. And you have it guys, the top is done with a nice soft cropped fringe that's going to be full enough to hide the receding, sorry bro, and to hide the thinning of the hair. It's not going to be woo in the air when the wind catches it either, because it's a nice length, not too long. So that is the top. Now I'm going to move on to the sides. Right, so now on to the fading technique, onto the clipper work. I will be doing this beard for you guys as well, and obviously for Niall. I'm going to start with my two open, and you have your foundation here ready to go through. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it straight up and through the foundation. 2.5, two open. Start with my beard down here. Obviously you can see as the beard faded, and start that, eliminate that before I even start. So you know that bit's done. Open up to a 2. So that bit's done with the beard. Two open, straight up and through the foundation. Watch my motion. Straight up and through that line. As I get to the top here, I'm hardly touching that line. So I'll do a slower motion for you. So I'm tight here, as I'm getting to the top, slightly coming off. So I'm completely coming off the head. So imagine that's his head, 2.5 here, tight, and then here you're coming off. That's what helps you create the shape. You can put your comb there as well if you want to stop the hair from budging. Same process, same principle. Repeat this right the way around. Before I go on to the back though, I will do two open so I know that this side is nice and clean. So I'm not creating a C cut, I'm not overcooking it by going the opposite C. So this is going to create a nice square shape. Fully closed, just into the 2.2 open. making sure this is nice and clean. Going back and forth, making sure it's nice and clean. That's all done. You can either clip or comb that, the lip there, afterwards. Don't stress about that now, we are concentrated on the fade. So moving on to the back, same principle, same process. Two open, straight up and through. So as you can see, you've got your guideline, which is your scissor line from your foundation, straight up and through. I haven't elevated my crown yet, I haven't done my elevation line with my crown yet, as I like to do that at the end to make sure I've maintained enough weight and enough shape there before I refine, before I elevate. That's just the way I do it. So I prefer so it's fully closed now. Right way around. Two open, 2.5. As you can see, you've got your guideline coming through with your foundation. Straight up and off. Using your comb to maintain, make sure the hair doesn't move, and you're still going up and through. So this motion here when I'm putting my comb down to help me with the blend. So as I come here, I'm completely coming off the head of the clippers and pulling the hair through. Fully closed, same as the other side. Just going back through. Going back through just to make sure, double check. Whilst you've got the number 2 guard on, if you are touching their beard, they are fading their beard or whatever, crack on, because it just saves you messing about later on. This is a 2.5, 2 open. Niall has a nice faded beard. I've done my 2.5, 2 open, closed. Now I know then, whenever I put my 0 line in to fade the beard, however low I go, I know I'm only connecting into a 2. I'm going to use now to put my 0 line in, my barberless low pros. Barberless low pros. Clean them, spray them. Starting, because you want to keep the shape up, so I'm going to go halfway in between the C cup here, just as it starts to turn. Stabbing it in at the start, making it quite level. Making it quite level, dropping it down at the back. Following this down, as I said about the fringe, coming around and dropping it down. So the centre, yeah, like it's just in camera. So as I dropped it down here, that's where I want to be. That is the main height. But I drop it down through the back, completely down. So when I'm coming around from the other side, it matches straight in. I will show you that in a minute. I'm going back through it, going up to the line, just to make sure everything underneath it is clean. It was clean the first time round, there's no faffing about then. So you're better off to make sure it's clean every single time before you move on to the next section. Now I'll use my barbless FX trimmers. Niall has a nice low medium-ish fade on the beard, so I know where to take it to the bottom of the low, bottom of the ear. And just below the zero, so you're kind of creating another line. You're kind of creating another line, and I will show you how to get rid of that in a minute. It's all creating safety blankets, guys. So I know that this fade is going to be as clean as I can possibly get it. Not pressing too hard. You don't want to leave a harsh line there, it's going to be even harder to get rid of. And then I'm going to use my Braun Series 9 to skin it. Now I use my fade brush as well. So by here, in between, right in the middle of it, I'm going to use both heads, both of them. That's to make sure it's super clean, super tight. And as I get to the bottom of the beard, I'm going to start using one head. And as I get to the top, I'm using one head again. This is to make sure that there is no defined line, there's no harsh skin line, sorry. There's no harsh skin line. And that's the same again as the nape. Use both heads, circular motions, to make sure you don't leave any hair unturned. That is nice and clean now with the nape. I'm going to be using my my Andis Detailers Super Slimline Pros. Now these are to connect the skeleton line into the zero. This is the most important fade. If you've noticed, in between this fade, I use 4 different clippers. So I've got the foilers, the Andis, the skeletons, and the zero, the barberless pros, or whatever ones you use to put in the zero. It doesn't have to be these clippers identically, but this is the process. This is the most important part of the fade, and this is my process of doing it. If you start off the fade with lines in it, then the rest of the fade is just going to be full of lines as well. As you can see now, that's completely clean. Completely clean. Nothing, no lines, no smidges, no hair out of place. Same with the beard. So I've done the zero, I've done the skeletons. Now under it I'm going to use the Andis slightly, and then the zero will just connect straight into that rim. Now I'm going to skip guard. So I'm going to go straight from skin, straight up and through the two using bare blade. So it's going to be fully open. And go straight up and through, connect into the top. Now my motion is going to be simple. Tight here. As I get up, it's going to be coming up slightly and off. So I'm just skimming the top of the hair. There's no harshness. Obviously I'm going really fast when I'm doing it, but I'm not touching the top. I'm hardly touching the top here. It's just skimming through it. Because if I'm going harsh through here, it's going to create more of a bulky line here, and you don't want that. So this is how to speed up your haircuts, guys. I do this with 90% of my fades. So as you can see, I'm tight to the bottom. I'm hardly touching the top. Half closed. Same again, not touching the top. Fully open is to connect it back through. Half closed, going back through that zero line. Fully closed. And knocking out that line. Now obviously with his darker hair, the way that his hair dips in here, we'll have to refine it. But that's the fade pretty much done. As soon as that's refined, as soon as that dark patch is refined there, that fade's done. It's much quicker. So now I'll go in my same process and blend down now. So I've done underneath, so I'll blend down. So I'm going to start with I'm going to go back to my barberless FXs because I prefer this for fade and blending down. So I'm going to use 1.5 guard open. Again, connecting straight through, flicking through the top. Closed. Open. One guard open. Same principle. Same principle, up and through again. Using the corner of the blade. So as I move from left to right, I'm using the corner of my blade. As I move from right to left, I'm using the other side of the blade. I do this regardless all the way through the haircut, no matter what the haircut is. Half closed. Using the corner of the blade, corner of the blade, corner of the blade, right away through, connecting it in. Closed. And as you can see now that that patch is starting to go. Refine as you see fit. So obviously if the closed one isn't getting rid of it, or as you can find you see that it's adding a bit more line, or something needs to be removed from above it, then just open and close it as you find fit. I'm going to go to my 0.5 guard, open, half open, knocking away those dark patches, and then again moving it, opening and closing it as you see fit. So if you see a dark patch, then work through the guards, work through the clicks. They're there to help you, that's what they're there for. Again, using the corner of the blade, always. And closed, just to finish off. And you see, fade's done. Pull your head over a little bit, as you can see. Now whilst I'm on this side, I'll fade into the two with the beard. So I will start with my barbless open. Half closed, 3/4 closed, but instead of going up, coming down, as you would be when you're closing the guard here, you'd be coming down. With the beard, you're working up. So it's the higher number lower, so it's reversed to the top. And wiggling your way through, getting rid of that line. One guard, open. So I'm coming in more like with my teeth first, just because obviously that makes the guard longer. So as you're coming through, and then flat, so obviously the guard's short now, this is a true 1.5 now. Half closed, 3/4 closed, and one. And if there's still lines right at the edge, the top, use your 0.5 guard. Half open, just to double check, just to make sure it is long enough. You're going to be creating another line. 3/4 closed, closed. That's the fade and the beard done. That part, obviously, then you fade it into the bottom. What are we going to do? Are you going to leave the length in the front? Yeah, leave the length in the front. So as he's leaving the length in the front, he's going to start growing it into a point again like he had before. We're going to use a 3, open, and again skimming through it, skimming through it, skimming through it, not touching the chin. And back through it here. Close it, fully close it, and just use your motion to go through it. Remember, you've already done the 2.5 guard, the 2.5, sorry, so 2 open. Yeah, but just to get rid of that darkness, to make it a lot smoother, I'm going to go back through and use a 2 open. There we are. And obviously Where's that one? It fell on the floor. So 1.5 guard, just to edge through now to make it super silky. 1.5 guard open, corner of the blade. So you go off site. Now that the fade is done, the refining is off site, not off process. But obviously the process helps because you know what numbers are where that you've used. So obviously I'm going through the tool line now, just edging away, chipping away at it. So now, using clipper over comb, I use my detailers here. So just to make sure it's all nice, crisp underneath. So as you can see here, what I use as my guide every time on a beard, obviously unless they got a buzz cut or bald, I always go in line with the crown. So I find the chin, starting at the jaw, connect it through into the crown. So you're already creating another line. The sharpness of haircuts and stuff is deceiving the eye. So you wouldn't even look at that as a client or as another barber, but realistically that line coming through, especially when the crown is styled, that line is coming through and it's going to make it look extra sharp. I'm going to start by obviously using that line on my head. Coming in slowly, nice and slowly, nice and soft. Making sure that angle of my clipper is in that line. Chin up a little bit, and then angling it in again. You've got your guide already. As long as your angle is still the same in the clipper, there's no reason for that line not to be straight, or not to be right. So what I'm doing here is skimming through. And then just take it all off, nice and gentle, especially with the detailers can catch an open pore. You don't want that. You prefer not to be applying, not to bleed. And anything, just to go through it, pull the comb up, right up, tight and under, pull it. Just get rid of any stragglers then. Obviously on the corner, edge away if there's any darkness there, get rid of it. And now that line's there, you put this line in. Always put this line in last because you could end up putting the wrong line in and end up having rounding the corner off. Obviously if that's what you want, what your client likes. Let's go through taking these stragglers you see. I will shape that up last, the C cup and the cheek. I like to run it straight through the cutthroat. Well, obviously this first. So that is this side of the head done. That is my skip guard in. That is, I'm not going to skip guard the other side. I'm going to show you a different technique how I fade. Showing the best of both worlds in this video. And that's my fading technique on a beard. That never really changes. Obviously depending on the length, obviously. It differs like, but boom, skip guard in and refining on the darker hair. On the last one it was nice and easy, it was George and he had light hair and he didn't have a weighted crop. He obviously had a soft crop but it wasn't as weighted through here, so it was a lot tighter through here. I needed to keep the weight coming through the channel, through the recession channel, through the side to maintain the weight for the fringe. So now I'm going to move on to the other side. Alright, so now as you can see the scissor mark is still there. Go in with my 2.5, or you can't see the 2, but my 2 open. I'm going to go straight up and through my comb here. It's going to help me create my guide. My blend is going to be done for me. I'm going to drop to my 2 as I've done my 2.5. gently going straight into that 2.5 to open. This is just going to create a softer edge for me to put my 0 in. I'm going to put my 0 in with my low pros. Starting in the C, as you can see the shape up C, I go in the middle of that, middle of the C cup. As you can see, it's connected into the back. Reverse it, go straight up to the 0 line, so it's nice and clean. And as you can see, it's connected straight into the back. So I drop the back down through here, and then that's connected straight through, and that's perfect. Going back through it now just to double check it's all nice and clean. Using my Barbless Pros, my skeletons, my Barbless F accessory, my skeletons, I'm going to create another little line underneath the 0, and this is getting ready for the foilers. And obviously, as I'm doing a low fade on the beard, low to medium fade on the beard, it's to the bottom of the earlobe. That's all nice and clean, ready for foilers. I'm going to use my bronze to skin it. Also use my fade brush. I'm going to use double-edged skin here, for the foilers here, to make sure it's silky smooth. And one as we get to the top, so there's no harsh line from the foiler, and around it here as well, just one foiler head around it here. Make sure you're getting right tight in that nooks and crannies. Circular motions around the nape, so it's crispy, crispy, crispy smooth. Circular motions, run your finger over to make sure it is silky smooth. Same process as the other side. Remember, I've only done this so that you can see two different ways of fading. So you're going to skip gathering with loads of refining, and you're going to have my full process of fading. Now I'm going to use my Andes to clean up in between the skeletons and the 0. Like I said, this is the most important part of the fade. This is why I use 4 different types of clippers. Not touching the 0. Getting rid of that skeleton line. Getting it all nice and crisp. And with the beard, exactly the same as the other side. Pushing it through, connecting into the skeletons, connecting into the skin. Now, this time I'm not going to use skip guards, so I won't be using my low pros. I prefer fading this way with these clippers. With the FXs, I find I just get a better result. 2 seconds. This in charge. So I'm going to go in bare blade, open, creating like a 1/2 inch gap. This is fully open. Now making sure it's nice and clean. I'm going to drop it to 1/2 open, going just under the 0.5. Again, same process as the other side. You're moving left to right, you want to use the right side of the blade. Moving right to left, you're using the left side of the blade. 3/4 closed. Closed. Going back through, just notching through that little line, that little 0 line that's left. Using the corner of the blade. All the way through, making sure this is nice and clean. As you can see how little my 50-50 motion is. So 50-50 means you're 50% above the line, 50% below, and that's your motion you use. So the teeth are always 50% above, 50% below. And now I'm going to go straight in my 1.5 guard open. So I'm going to start blending down straight into that 0.5. So this is open. I'm going to up and through again through the 2, so it creates a softer edge, a softer blend line. Again, nice and tight at the bottom, nice and loose at the top. Closed, 1.5 guard closed. Same process, same principle, tight at the bottom, loose at the top. Again, using the corner of my blades, right to left, left side of the blade. Left to right, right side of the blade. I'm going to use my one guard open, same principle, tight at the bottom, looser as I get to the top. Again, corner the blades, and as you can see, it's starting to fade in nicely, it's starting to become lighter, starting to become spectacular. With the one, I'm going to use half closed, so I won't go from full to closed. I will go with the one blade, with the one guard, sorry, I will go half closed and work through that way. Again, right to left, left to right, right to left, sorry. Using the corner of the blades as I'm moving, gives you more precision with the clippers. Pulling down on the skin, not up. If you pull up on the skin, it means you, well, I have done it in the past, you take the fade too tight, too high, or and too tight. Excuse me. And too tight. If you pull down, you just, that's all you were doing, you were tightening the skin, you're not stretching the skin. Whereas you pull up, there's a lot more movement. So, process. Fully closed. So as I say in the other video, if you would have seen it, if you haven't purchased it, thank you so much for it if you have so. I love the support, I massively appreciate it. But now it's not moving on, sorry, as the other video I'll work one side and then finish off the back, and that's exactly what I'm doing now. So now the guard's fully closed, you can start to see that line's going. Constantly using your fade brush, because this moves any hair, removes any hair, unwanted hair. It makes the fade cleaner, and you can see exactly where the lines are that needs to be removed, the dark patches, etc, etc. Right, now I'll drop my 0.5 guard. Where is it? I'll do this fully open. Again, same process, tight, loose. Same, using half the blade, corner of the blade. Half closed. Three-quarters closed. You're still on the three-quarters closed. Fully closed. As you can see, that line is nearly gone. That 0.5 line is nearly gone. And I will drop back to the blade open, fully open, and I'm going to use just the corner of the blade, literally just the corner. Obviously, the opposite side when I'm moving, different sides, different motions. So from right to left, I'm going to use the corner of the blade here, on the left hand side. Opposite way, the opposite side of the clipper. Half closed, notching that line away, 50-50 motion. Same the other way, 50-50 motion. Three-quarters closed. This is just refining now, so just refining through that line. Getting rid of that line. Making sure it's nice and crisp. And fully closed, and this is literally where you will use just the corner of the blade, like the tip. Now to refine, obviously you've got your darker patches here. So to refine, I'm going to use my 0.5 guard open, but be very, very lightly with it. So this is the dark patches, just to get rid of it. Very, very lightly. I'm hardly touching the scalp. I'm barely touching the scalp. Half open. There we have it. That's my fade done. Now moving on to the back. Just going to finish off a skip guard in, going straight through, connecting the dots. I personally find that the back is always easier to fade. I don't know why. I think it might be because the hair is more dense. That's just my personal preference. I do know some people who hate fading the back of the hair, but for me it just fades easy. This is the easiest part of the haircut for me. Using the corner of my blade to refine, going through. Boom, and then the back is done. Now, moving on to the beard. This side sit. So moving on to the beard, 0.5 guard, bare blade, open, 0.5, create another little line. Half closed. Remember it's reversed to the top. So we're working down, when we're working in higher numbers we're going lower, and when we're working in short numbers we're going higher. With the hair it's obviously reversed. 3/4 closed, corner of the blade, working through, closed. I'm going to go to my one guard. My teeth like this, my one guard open, just at the start to take stragglers off underneath, and I'm going to go flat. I'm going to be half open and close. Recording. Now I'm going to go to my half guard. Closed and open if I need to. So create a soft fade through here, lovely, lovely, lovely soft fade. Smooth to the eye. 1.5 guard open. Oh, I've already done the 2.5 this side as well, guys. The camera wasn't on when I done it. I didn't record for some reason. Yeah, so I've already done the 2.5 and the 2, so now I'm going to go to 1.5 guard, open, touching it into there. And now I'm going to go in with a 3. Taking off the 3 open, sorry, taking off the edges on the lower part of the chin, connecting it into, starting to connect it in to the 2.5, the 2 open, closed. Two on again, just to refine that little line there. So 2 open, right away through. Now I'm going to use my detailers and my comb. Again, explaining. I'm going to use my detailers and my comb to feather that in. But how I put the line in is I'm going to connect it straight through into the crown. It's going to be like, subconsciously then when you're looking at the haircut, there's going to be 2 lines. So your line here and a line up through here, so it'll be a follow through line. Nice and gently on the neck. Coming in softly, taking any stragglers away as you're getting rid of it. As you're coming through, sorry. Taking any stragglers. Nice and gentle with the skeletons as you're coming down, as you don't want to catch any open pores. And now that you've done that line there, do the back line. As I said previously, right, now for the moustache, I just use a clip over comb, tight to the lip at the bottom, and I angle it out. Come with the hair, and always come down so that the clip of the hair doesn't bounce back up and hit the client in the eye. And it's not nice having hair in the eye, we all know that. Come off the lip, connecting it into the chin. Taking any stragglers off as you move around. Right, now then, moving straight into the shape up. Oh, whilst you're there as well, take the client's long ones out of his eyebrows. This is something that they will thank you for, and this is also client retention. So maybe they might not notice it so much, but if their partner notices it, oh, you go back there, they've done your eyebrows and everything for you. It's something else that other barbers might not do. So, just a little tip for you guys. Now, whilst doing the shape up, obviously clear the hair from above. But obviously come in with the tip of your, I do it this way. There's no right or wrong way to do it, but I come in like this so I can see. Because if your clipper is this way, you're blind because you can't see what's behind the clipper. So I put my nice shape up line in here. I use my fade brush, just come down and around, the C-cut, start at the tip of the point, with the curvature ends, and slowly move it around. And I'm doing the shape up on the cheek as well. I always go from the tip to the tash, putting it in. But this is, yes, I'm blind underneath, but I'm not taking it from underneath. I'm going from above. I've already got my gauge here, and I know where the C starts. Repeat the other side. Same again. Don't make yourself blind. Slightly, not going too much into the hairline. As you can see, I've hardly taken any of the hairline away. It is enhancing it, guys. You're not removing it, enhancing it. Again, same process, same principle from the tip. So you have not taken too much hair away. There's nothing worse than seeing a hairline that's been taken too far back when it's outgrown. When it's growing back. Shape up done there. Tash. Same principle, same process. Away from the face, you're not going up against the comb. Same guideline from the tip of the tash. Any stragglers, remove. And now, as you can see, there's still a bit of a lip here. So this is where the refining of the top and the blend comes in. I'm going to lift the camera up a touch so you can see. Oh. Oh, sorry guys. Hold on. Right. So as you can see there, there's a lip either side. Now, it's okay to have the lip when you leave the salon or the shop, but when that regrows, that's going to grow out like that. And that's what you don't want. You want longevity for your client, because that means they will come back. Maybe it might last a few weeks longer or whatever, but it still means that the longevity, that's what sells. So how I'm going to do this, clip over comb, always keeping an eye on the mirror as well, always keep them checked, just making sure you're not going too far, make sure you're not taking, that you're not taking enough off. So clip it in, angle it out slightly, you don't want to take too much off your first time, your clipper is open. Go through and fine, come up a little bit as well if you need, so you can carry on with the elevation. As you can see, that's already better. Hasn't affected the fade, just made the shape a lot better, a lot more manageable for the client in 2 to 3 weeks. Same here again, coming from underneath, angling it out. using it as your elevation as well. And take it a little bit tighter. You can see this little lip there. And as you can see, it's a lot better. So a little bit of a lip here. Better to do bit by bit than what it is to take too much off, because when it's off, it's off. There's no going back then. And the same again, just doing exactly the same thing at the back. So there we have it, guys. It's my soft crop, my magic soft crop. So you hide the receding, but with enough weight there to make sure that it doesn't look like it's hiding anything. Now I'm going to go on to styling. Actually, I'm going to refine the fringe a little bit, just to take away the edges up here so it's more straight. Edging away slightly. Oh yeah, and remembering to do the other eyebrow. Now moving on to the cutthroat, and this is the finishing touch. Now I use my cutthroat dry, just because I prefer it. There's not creating any blind spots then. Not much different for the client either. So again, same principle as the cutthroat, as the foiler, as the detailers. In it comes, straight up to the foil, straight up to the detailer line, up and behind, from underneath. And as you can see, the detail difference from using a cutthroat is incredible. May as well shape up the eyebrow, which is there. Obviously ask your client first, but obviously I know Niall has a shaped up eyebrows anyway. Same the other side. As you can see, it's naturally dried on its own, and then you can see the shape of it. That's naturally dry. There's no product, nothing. On the cheek, pulling up from the to the eye, so the skin is nice and tight. Shaping the eyebrow again. Bottom of the neck. Make sure you take the gown off to make sure that the hair is removed from completely down the bottom of his neck. There's nothing worse than seeing a haircut leave the shop, or a brand new haircut, and they still got hair at the bottom of the neck. I think worse. Thank you guys. That is me and Niall. Thank you very much. Boom. And now on to the styling. As I said, because of how it sits naturally, it sits perfectly like that. So that's all I'm going to do is going to have a little bit of powder, a bit of Ruger powder. Ruger. So Alan Beek's brand, if you haven't heard of it guys, go and check it out, it's unbelievable. Circular motions around, just to give it that bit of texture through. Fire a little bit of hairspray into the crown. Maintain that weight, maintain that squareness at the back. Bring the client down, more powder. And there you can see it. Finished. Added bit. Added coordinate to the side. This is why line theory and knowing the direction of the hair growth, which is line theory, comes so much into play. Because I haven't had to blow dry this, I haven't had to do nothing to it, just add product to it. I haven't added product when it was wet, I haven't done nothing to it, just added powder and created the styling. Look at the shape, see how square the shape is. Thank you for watching guys, I appreciate you massively. You don't understand how much I appreciate the support. Thank you, I love you, peace. Love. Thank you very much for watching guys. Right, now then please do share to your stories, take snippets, share to your Instagram stories, tag me in everything, tag me in every single post that you do, even if you're not using my fading techniques or the techniques I've shown you. Just tag me in all of your work and I will 100% support you. I will have your back, I will comment, I will save, I will share, I will just support you as you have done with me. So thank you very much guys. Hope you tune into the next video. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Peace, love from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you so much. Mwah. Bye.